Okay, so this is TIMA mock exam review. So there will be 30 questions in total, and there are different categories. So we will be having logical thinking first. Okay, number one, according to the pattern shown below, what should be the number filled in the blank? Okay, so for this one, we need to look for a pattern. And to look for a pattern, we need to get the difference between consecutive numbers. In this case, let's take a look at 13 and 19. So the difference is, what's 19 minus 13? That should be 6. Okay? Now, between 19 and 31, it is 12. And between 31 and 49, that is 18. Okay? So, can you see the pattern now? Okay, to check, let's do another one. So between 49 and 73, that is 24. Okay, so looking at the differences, we can see a pattern. Okay, it seems as though we are having multiples of 6, right? So that means that the pattern or the differences between numbers is increasing by 6. Okay, we have 6, 12, 18, 24. And so the next difference that we can get would be, okay, 24 plus 6, that's 30. Okay, so knowing that the difference should be 30, what should we do to get to the next number? Of course, we have to add 73 plus 30. So 73 plus 30 simply gives us 103. And so the answer here should be 103. Okay, so that's it. Very easy. Next, number 2. 15 children, including Tom, are standing in a column. There are 6 children standing in front of Tom. How many children are standing behind him? Okay, so we know that they are in a column or they are in a line. Let's see, this is the line. And Tom is somewhere here. Okay, so this is Tom, and we know from the problem there are 6 children in front of him. Okay, let's write it here. There would be 6 children in front of Tom, and the total number of children altogether in the line is 15. Okay? So now, the question is asking how many children are behind Tom. Okay? So this is the number of children that we should get. So to do that, we just simply have to subtract, right? Subtract from the total number of children, which is 15. 15 minus 6, the children in front of Tom. And of course, since we are only looking at the children behind him, we also need to subtract Tom from the number. Okay? So Tom is just 1. So 15 minus 6 minus 1, that gives us 8. Okay? So the correct answer for this question is 8. Okay? So very easy also. Now let's go over number 3. Okay, number 3. According to the pattern shown below, how many asterisks is or are there in the sixth group? Okay, this is the figure. Now let's look at our groups, right? So for the first group, we have one box with one asterisk. Okay, so 1. For the second group, we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So a 3 by 3 box. And how many asterisks? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 asterisks. Now, for the third group, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A 5 by 5 box with how many asterisks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 9. And so for the fourth group, let's look at the fourth group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A 7 by 7 box with, let's count the asterisks again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Correct? Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, that's 13. Now, we can form a pattern for the number of boxes and a pattern for the number of asterisks. Okay, so let's get the pattern for the number of asterisks first. So the pattern here between 1 and 5, it's just +4. Now between 5 and 9, that is just +4. And then between 9 and 13, we have also +4. Now it seems that the number of asterisks simply increases by 4 as you go to the next group. Now for the fifth group, we could write here, fifth group, we have from 13, we need to add 4. So 13 plus 4, we get, okay, 13 plus 4, that's 17. Okay. Sorry. My pen is not quite working well. So 13 plus 4, that's 17. Now let's try for the sixth group, since we already know the pattern. So for the sixth group, we will get 17 plus 4. So that's basically 21 asterisk, okay? So, maybe you feel like there's some doubt because you cannot really see the sixth group, right? So knowing the pattern for the number of boxes, let's try to actually draw the sixth group and fill in the boxes with asterisk. Okay, let's see. So this is the sixth group, and from the pattern, the fifth group will have a 9 by 9 box, while the sixth group will have an 11 by 11 box. Okay, so if that is the case, and following the pattern on how we are going to fill in the boxes, we just have to consider this column, the leftmost column, and the rightmost column, and of course the topmost row for our figure. And then we know that for this, for the two columns, we will have to fill 6 of those asterisks, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just like this one, and this one, and this one. Okay, we will follow that. And then on the other column as well, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now we just have to fill in these with asterisk, the top column. And we already filled the 1 and 2 column boxes there. So we only need to fill in 11 minus 2. That's gonna be 9. 9 more asterisks. Okay, so this is 9 asterisks. Okay, so this is what the sixth group would look like. And to count, we have 6 plus 6 plus 9. So 6 plus 6, that's 12, plus 9, that would become 21. Okay, so we can still get 21 if you will just draw the figure or the group 6. Okay, so a little trickier this time. Now let's go over to number 4. Given 10th April 2021 is a Saturday, which day of the week is 2nd May 2021? So the 2 months are still under the same year, so we can disregard that. And then after April is the month of May. Okay? So to do this one, we just have to remember that there are 7 days in a week, right? 7 days in a week. And every after 7 days, the cycle would just repeat, right? So the days would just repeat. And so, to know which day of the week will be on the 2nd of May, we will need to look or to get the number of days that would pass after April 10 or from April 10 to May 2nd. Okay? So on the month of April, there would be 30 or 31 days. Okay? So there would be 30 days in April. So since we started at April 10, we just have to subtract 30 minus 10. So we would need to cover 20 days in April plus the 2 days in May. So 20 plus 2, this is in May. So we would get 22 days in total. Okay? So again, for example, here, 7 days after Saturday would still be a Saturday. And 7 days after that, it will still be Saturday. So that will go on and go on. Now we have 22 days that would pass by to get to May 2nd. And so we need to get a multiple of 7 that is very close to 22. Or we can do division first, okay? So we can divide 22 divided by 7, that's gonna be 3. 3 times 7, that's 21. And we will get a remainder of 1. Okay, so we will only look at the remainder. Okay, so the remainder tells us the extra days that will not form a complete 7 days. So the extra days here would just be 1. So that means we would go 1 day after Saturday. What's after Saturday? That is Sunday. Okay? Or if you don't want to divide, you just have to think of a multiple that is very close um to 22. So a multiple of 7 that is very close to 22. And of course, that is 21. So if you have 7 times 3, that's 21, right? So we will do now subtraction. So 22 minus 21, we will get 1 day after Saturday. So we can still get a Sunday. Okay? So you could divide and get the remainder or just think of a multiple of 7 close to the number of days and do subtraction. Okay? Basically the same thing. So that's it. The answer here is Sunday. Okay, now for number 5. When Jack was born, his mother was 25 years old. When Jack is 33 years old, how old is his mother? Of course, let's try to tally down the ages. We have for um Jack first, and then for his mother. Jack, and then mother. Sorry, my pen is not working again. Okay, Jack and mother. So when Jack was born, what do you think would his age be when Jack was born? It's 0, right? But his mother was 25 years old. Now, when Jack is 33 years old, that means that 33 years would also pass by. So 0 here and here would be plus 33. So 33 years later, what would be the age of his mother? So we just have to add 33 years also to mother's age when Jack was born. So that is 25 plus 33, 5 plus 3, 8, 2 plus 3, 5. So his mother's age is 58. Okay, very easy, right? Okay, now let's go to number 6. Oh no. If 21 days ago was Tuesday, Which day of the week is today? Okay. So this is very easy. Okay. If you just know the multiples of 7. What are the multiples of 7? 7, 14, 21. Okay. So 21 is a multiple of 7. And from the question that we answered a while ago, diba? Every after 7 days, the day of the week would just repeat. So it is a cycle, right? So every after 7 days, the day would just repeat. So we would be forming multiples of 7. So 21 days ago, from 21 days ago, which is a Tuesday, we fast forward it to now or today. Then today would just be Tuesday. Okay? Tuesday. So you notice that when you divide 21 by 7, you will not get a remainder. So there will be no extra days. So you will still land on a Tuesday. Okay? So that's 3. 3 times 7, 21. So no remainder. Okay, very easy. Next, number 7. 7, which is already in arithmetic. Okay. If A and B are both one-digit numbers, what is the value of B minus A if the equation below is correct? Okay, so you have to take note that we are adding our numbers in column. And what do we do when we try to add our numbers in column? We always first look at the rightmost column or the column where our unit digits would be, or the ones digit. So we can read this as A plus B equals 8. And so if we try to go to the next column, you can see that A is just equal to 2. Okay, so this is somehow true because A is still a one-digit number. Now let's try to see if we substitute 2 here, we can still get a one-digit number for B. So we will replace A with 2 plus B equals 8. Now we will have to work backwards. So to work backwards, we just have to subtract 8 minus 2. Of course, B is equal to 6, which is still a one-digit number. So the condition is satisfied, right? So it is true that both A and B are one-digit numbers. So that means A is 2, B is 6. But the answer that we should have here is the difference between B and A. So B minus A, which is 6 minus 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. Okay? And so the correct answer here should be 4. Okay? Okay, so now let's go to number 8. Find the value of 5 times 14 plus 4 times 14 minus 14 times 7. Now, if we look at our numbers, there is one repeating number, right? Which is 14. And our operations are multiplication and addition and subtraction. Now, one thing you have to remember here is the rule of PEMDAS. Okay? So PEMDAS means parenthesis first. Next is exponent, but you don't have exponent yet, right? And then multiplication, and then division, addition, and subtraction. So this is how we prioritize our operations. So anything or any terms within a parenthesis should be done first, and multiplication should be done first before you add. Okay, and so that's what we're going to remember here. So if we look at our expression, 5 times 14 should be done first. Also 4 times 14 and 14 times 7. Okay, before we could add or subtract. Okay, now, since we know that 14 is being multiplied to 5, 4, and 7, we can actually regroup these numbers again in such a way that we will only multiply by 14 once. Okay? So we can regroup it like this. You can have 5 copy or just follow the operations plus 4 and then minus 7. Okay. So they are in a parenthesis, so we will have to do them first. The operations. So 5 plus 4 minus 7 times 14. And this is one property that you always have to remember. When we have here many terms in a parenthesis and you multiply it to a certain number, 14 here or the number here can be distributed back to these terms. So you can still get this expression. Okay? So if you multiply back 14, you can have 14 times 5 plus 14 times 4 and then minus 14 times 7. So you will go back to the same expression in the problem. Now, let's try to solve. So 5 plus 4, that's 9. 9 minus 7, that's 2 times 14. See, you only have to multiply once by 14 and the number is quite lower now, which is just 2. So 2 times 14, that is just equal to 28. Okay? 28 is the correct answer here. Next, let's go to number 9. Number 9. Find the value of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 and so on until 100. Okay, so we are basically adding 100 numbers. So it's so tiring adding 100 numbers, right? So what can we do for us, or what can we do to solve this one quickly and easily? Okay, so what we have to do is we can do Gaussian addition in which we need to find pair of numbers that we can add, and those pair of numbers will have the same sum each time. Okay? So let's try to write our expression here. Let's say we have 1 plus 2 plus 3 and so on. So you put um 3 period or 3 dots when you want to the expression to continue. And then we write here 98 plus 99 plus 100. Okay. Now, what if we look at, or what if we add the first number to the last number? So that is 1 plus 100. So we can get 101. Now, continuing this, we now add the second number to the second to the last number. So that is 2 plus 99. Okay? 2 plus 99 is just equal to 101 also. Okay? So it's like magic. Now, how about 3 and 98? Okay. So 3 plus 98, that is still 101. Okay, this is possible because our numbers are consecutive. Okay, so they are consecutive numbers. So now, if we take two numbers each time, and each time the sum is always 101, so how many pairs of numbers would we have such a way that we can always get a sum of 101? Okay? It seems like there should be, since we're only getting a pair of numbers, so we can divide 100 by 2, so we can get 50 pairs. Okay? Or if you can imagine it, our numbers, the numbers that we are adding are going towards the center. If you continue this expression, they will meet at the center. Okay? So now we have 50 pairs of 50 pairs of numbers with a sum of 101. So to get the total, we just have to multiply 50 by 101. Again, there are 50 pairs that have a sum of 101. So what is 50 times 101? Okay, so we can just do it like this. 50 times 100 plus 1. Okay, don't forget we can distribute 50 to each of the terms, 101. So 50 times 100, this is just easy. You do 5 times 1, that's 5, and then copy the number of zeros. We have 1, 2, 3. So you get 5,000 plus, okay, plus 50 times 1. What is 50 times 1? That is just 50. So 5,000 plus 50, we can get the final answer to be 5,050. Okay? So 5,050 is the final answer. Okay. So that's it. I'm gonna write it here. I don't have any more space. Okay. Very easy, right? Huh? It doesn't seem like we're adding 100 numbers. Okay? So if you just know the pattern, then you can answer this one easily. Okay, now, number 10. What is the value of number A if the equation below is correct? Okay, so if this is correct, then we have 17 times 8 equals 136. So we are multiplying two numbers equal to 136. So to do this, we need to know how to work backwards. Okay, to work backwards, we need to use an operation that is like the counterpart of the operation that we're using. So for multiplication, we always do division to work backwards. Okay, for example, if we have 2 times 3 equals 6, so um, to work backwards, we will have to divide 6. We have to divide that by 2. If we divide 6 by 2, we would still get 3, okay? Or if we divide 6 by 3, if we divide 6 by 3, 6 divided by 3, we would still get 2, okay? So that's why to work backwards, we can use multiplication. Uh, for multiplication, we could do division. So in this case, we divide 136 by 17 to get the value of A. Okay, so here, 136 divided by 17. Okay, so it's harder to divide this way, right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to add 17 multiple times, and we'll try to see if it becomes closer to 136. Okay, so of course 17 plus 17, that is equal to 34. Then next, 34 plus 17, since the sum is not quite close to 136, so we add more 17. 17, 4 plus 7, that's 11. So this is 51. We add again another 17. 7 plus 1, 8, 68. And then 17 more. Well, the goal is to make it as close as 136. So 8 plus 7, that's 15. So this is 85. We'll continue it here. So 85 plus 17, that is 1202. Okay, almost. And then plus 17, 9, 119. And then another 17. Okay, so 9 plus 7, that's 6. 15, carry 1, this is 3. And the answer is 136. So we actually have a multiple of 17 exactly. It's 136. So how many 17 did we add? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so 17 times 8 is equal to 136. Now the value of A should be 8. Okay? So the value of A should be 8. Okay, you get this? Very easy, right? Okay, next. Number 11. Find the value of 5 minus 3 plus 9 minus 4 plus 8 minus 19 plus 24 minus 22 plus 27. Okay, so there are a lot of numbers, right? So what can we do? We need to find pairs of numbers that will have a result of either a multiple of 10 or 5 because multiples of 10 and 5 are easier to add, okay, or subtract. Now let's try to look at our numbers, okay? Oh, here, if we subtract 9 minus 4 first, we get 5. How about if we subtract 22 from 27? We can interchange this one, right? So that becomes 27 minus 22. It's still 5. Okay, let's try to look for another pair. How about this one? 24 minus 19. Okay, so again, we can interchange these numbers. So that becomes 24 minus 19. It's still 5. Okay. How about, okay, we already have a 5 here. So that means we will only have this pair, 8 minus 3. So 8 minus 3 is still a 5. And then we will include this 5 here. Okay, so all are being added now. So we are adding 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's basically 5 times 5 equals 25. Okay, skip count by 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So the correct answer here is 25. Okay, that's it. Number 12. Here, find the value of 15 divided by 5 plus 20 divided by 5 plus 25 divided by 5 minus 45 divided by 5. Again, don't forget the rule, PEMDAS or MDAS. You could just have MDAS. So multiplication first before you can add or subtract. Or division first before you could add or subtract. Okay, here, you can see 15 divided by 5, 20 divided by 5, 25 divided by 5, and 45 divided by 5. Okay, so this would be very easy to divide. So 15 divided by 5, that's 3. Plus 20 divided by 5, that's 4. Plus 25 divided by 5, that's 5. Minus 45 divided by 5, that's 9. Okay, so we can still work. Um, it's okay to not work straightforward, okay? It's okay to not work on our operations from left to right. For addition or subtraction, you can interchange your numbers as long as you follow the sign or the symbol that comes before the number. Okay, so for this one, 4 plus 5 is 9, right? So 9 minus 9, that becomes 0. So we're only left with 3. So the correct answer here is 3. Okay, very easy. So if you can find a way to work with your numbers, that would be very good. Okay, now we are in number theory. So number theory, number 13. Okay, the numbers below form an arithmetic sequence. What is the 14th term in the sequence? So when you say arithmetic sequence, that means that between our consecutive terms, there will be a common difference. Okay, so the difference between our numbers would just be the same. So that means there is a pattern for the difference. Okay? So common difference. Now, 130, 125, 120, 115, and 110. So the numbers are decreasing. Okay? So decreasing. So let us look at their differences. So 130 minus 125, that's 5. 125 minus 120, that's also 5. And this is also 5. And this is also 5. So how many terms do we already have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, let's start from the fifth term, and we want to get to the 14th term. Okay? So that means we need to know how many times did we have to increase by 5 to get to the 14th term. Okay? So again, the question is, how many times do we have to subtract by 5 to get to the 14th term? Okay, so to do that, starting from the fifth term, we need to get the difference between the terms. So 14 minus 5, that is 9. So the differences, so there would be, again, 9 differences. So to multiply 9 set of difference, so we will get the total difference. So we just have to multiply by 5. So 9 times 5 is 45. Okay? Since we have the fifth term as our basis, so we will have to subtract 110 minus 45 to get the 14th term. So 110 minus 45, that is 10. So this is 5. 10 minus 4, that is 6. Okay, so the answer here is 65. So the 14th term is again 65. Okay, so how about if we started from the first term? So that means from the first term, we need to get to the 14th term. Okay, so that is just easy. You replace it here with 1 since we are starting from the first term. And so the difference or the number of differences that we will have is 13. So there will be 13 sets of 5. So 13 times 5, that is, what's 13 times 5? 5 times 3, that's 15. 5 times 1, that's 5. 65. Okay. So 13 times 5 is 65. Let's replace it here. 65. Okay, again, since our basis is the first term, then this should be 130 minus 65. Okay, 130 minus 65. So this one is 12. 12 minus 6, that's 6. So 10 minus 5, 5. Okay, so we can still get 65. Okay, so the same answer. We can still get the same answer. Okay, it doesn't matter where you would start. Okay, you could start from the third term and you want to make it to the 14th term. So just follow the steps. Okay, first get the difference between the number of terms. Second, multiply it to the common difference. And third, subtract the value of the term and the difference. Okay, to get the 14th term. Okay, so again, correct answer, it's 65. Number 14. Fill in the blanks with plus and minus to make the equation below correct. Write down the complete equation on the answer sheet. Okay, so here you could do trial and error. Okay, but if trial and error is a hassle, is very tiring to do, then we could follow this um, method. So first, we would assume that the operation is only addition. Okay, so assume all operations to be addition. So that means we would simply add up all of our um, terms, 13 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6. So we would get a different result, right? So what is 13 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6? 7 plus 6, that's 13. 13 plus 8, that's 21. 21 plus 13, we would get 34. So 34 is the result when we are just adding them all up. Now we need to get the difference between this result and the original result or the true result, which is 18. So 34 minus 18 would be 16. Okay, so now we are doing this to get the value that would have a negative or that would carry the minus sign. Okay, so imagine now your number line in which this is 0 and we could have negative numbers and positive numbers, right? So, for example, if we have negative 1 here, or when it is supposed to be being subtracted, but then we assume the number to be being added, so what? We would have a double value, right? So to just get the exact value of what we are subtracting, we need to divide by 2, okay? So we need to divide by 2 so that we can only get this value here, this jump here that we are subtracting. So now we get 16, but this is not the value that will carry the minus sign. We have to still divide it by 2. So 16 divided by 2, that becomes 8. So 8, we can see 8 right here, right? From the given, there is an 8. So that means that 8 will carry the minus sign. So 8 will carry the minus sign because in actuality, 8 is being subtracted. So 13 minus 8 and the rest of the numbers now will be added. Okay, so to check, 13 minus 8, that's 5. 5 plus 7, 12. 12 plus 6, 18. So we got the correct sequence for our plus and minus. Again, 13 minus 8 plus 7 plus 6 equals 18. Okay, next. Let's do number 15. Find the largest four-digit even number without repeated digits. Okay, so what are our digits? We could have digits from 0 to 9. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we have a four-digit even number. Okay, so the highest place value is in the thousands place. Okay, this is thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. Okay, so to get an even number, we need to put an even number on the ones place. Okay, but since we are getting the largest number, so we have to prioritize the largest place value first. Okay, so which is the thousands place. Now, what is the largest digit that we can have? It's 9, right? So we would prioritize putting 9 to the highest place value to ensure that we are getting the largest number. And so we would now arrange the following digits decreasing. So of course, since this is the next larger place value, we would also put here the next larger digit, which is 8, and so on. So for the tens place, we would put 7. And okay, it's a good timing because the next number after 7 is 6. And 6 is an even number. So we can put 6 here. And this will now be the largest four-digit even number without the digits being repeated. So we can read this number as 9,876. Okay? So that's it. Okay, for number 16. How many two-digit even numbers divisible by 4 is or are there? Okay? So for this one, we could do technique. We could apply a technique, or we could just simply list down our numbers. Okay? So let's just do the technique first, and we will check if by listing down we can still get the same answer. Okay? So for this one, what is the largest two-digit number that we could have? It's 99, right? So we need to have here 99. Okay? My pen is not working. So this one is 99. And what is the smallest two-digit number we can have? It's 10, right? So in between 10 to 99, there would be two-digit even numbers divisible by 4. Okay, so we can have a range from 10 to 99. So we will subtract 99 minus 10. And of course, since we're getting numbers divisible by 4, we divide by 4. Okay? So now, you always have to round down the value nearest um whole number. So when we try to divide 99 by 4, we get, let's see here, 99 divided by 4, that's 2, 2 times 4, 8, 9 minus 8, that's 1, bring down 9, 19 divided by 4, we get 4. 4 times 4, that's 16. So remainder 3. So no longer need to account for the remainder, we just get this one. So I'm gonna write it here. 24. And now for 10 divided by 4. Easy. Let's just, we can get two sets of 4. So 2 times 4, that's 8. 10 minus 8, 2. So we will have a remainder of 2, but we will not account for the remainder. We only need to get this. So 24 minus 2 is equal to 22. So there would be 22 numbers that are divisible by 4. Two-digit numbers. Okay, let's try to list them down. Okay, so the smallest two-digit number that we can have that is divisible by 4 is 12. So we will just have to add 4 each time. Okay? So 12 plus 4, that's 16. 16, 20, 24, 28. 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 48, 52, 56, 60, and 64, 68, 72, 76, 80, 84, 88, 92, 96. But we will not include 100 now because it's already a three-digit number. So what are the numbers? We count, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And so the correct answer here is 22. Okay? So there are two ways that we could do here. So if you want to be safe, you could do um listing down. Okay? Now let's go to the next number. Number 17. 10 students took part in a mathematics test in which their total score is odd. Given 4 of the students have odd number of scores and 2 of the students have even number of scores, at most how many of the remaining student or students have or has odd number of scores? Okay? Odd number of scores. So to this one, you have to remember if we add odd plus odd, we get an even number because we can pair them up, just like 1 plus 1 equals 2. Odd plus even, okay? In the case of 1 plus 2, we get an odd result. Now for even and even, just like in 2 plus 2, we get 4. So even plus even, we get an even result. Okay, so there are 10 students. 4 of them have an odd number of scores. Okay, so for odd numbers, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 of these students have even number of scores. Even plus even. Okay, so let's try to simplify first. But anyway, later. Okay, so for now, how many remaining students do we have? We have 4 plus 2, that's 6. So 10 minus 6, we will have 4 remaining students. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So the total should be an odd value. Okay? So now let's try to simplify again. If we have an odd plus odd that is even, odd plus odd that is even. Okay, by now you must realize that it will not matter how many even numbers we are going to add. We will just get an even result. So all of these will just be even. So even plus the result from these 4 students. Okay, now the question is asking at most. So the maximum number of students that will have an odd number of scores. Okay? So first case is where we will have one odd number or odd score and the rest would be even. Okay? So odd numbers could be 1 and 3. Odd number of scores. 1 and 3. So we have to check if we still can get an odd total. So again, it doesn't matter how many events you will add, the result will still be even. So what matters now is you look at how many odd scores you will have. So if the number or the count is an odd, then you will also get an odd result. But if the count is even, in the case of odd plus odd, you have 2 odds. So you will get an even result because you can pair up those odd numbers or odd scores and you will get an even result. Okay, so in this case, we only have 1. But is this the maximum? No, right? Because we could still have 3 odd scores to make to still make the result an odd um value and having the maximum to be 3. Okay, we cannot have all of these 4 students to be or to have an odd score because the result will now be even. Okay, even plus even, it's not odd, right? It would be even now. We cannot also do 2 because 2 odd scores would still give an even result. So we could either have 1 odd or 3 odd scores. And again, the question is asking at most. So the maximum. So we could have 3. 3 odd scores for the remaining students. To satisfy that the total score is still odd, we need to have three odd number of scores. Okay, so that is it for this number. Again, the correct answer is 3. Okay, next, number 18. Fill in the blanks with plus and multiplication or times to make the equation below correct. So for this one, we will have to do trial and error, okay? So the very first thing that we could add is the multiplication first operation or the times multiplication symbol. Okay, now for this one, let's try to check. You cannot have 4 times 5 because that will already result 20. Okay, so let's move our symbol to the next pair. Let's have 3 times 4. That's 12. Okay? So that's very much closer to 20 now. Okay. So let's balance out. If we multiply this one times 2, and then we add 1 times 2, 2 plus 3, it's 5. And then this one is um 12 plus 5. Okay? So I guess we can get 20 now, right? So we did it on one try. Okay, so this is again trial and error. So if you multiply 1 times 2, you get 2 plus 3 times 4, that's 12. And then plus, let's say 5. Is it 20? Mhm. Not quite. Okay, again. 1 times 2, that's 2. Plus 3 times 4, 12, 14. Plus 5, that's 19. Okay, what else? Not quite, right? What else? Okay. Of course, we will surely need to add 5 for this one. Okay? So, can we see now the answer? Okay, so we will not multiply, but we will just add all of these numbers up. So 1 plus 2, that's 3. 3 plus 3, that's 6. 6 plus 12, is it correct? Ah, no, we will not add 3. Okay, sorry. So we will add 12. So 1 plus 2, that's 3. 1 plus 2, that's 3. Plus 12, 15, plus 5 equals 20. Okay. A little bit confusing when you do trial and error. Okay, so you have to be very careful. Okay, now let's go to number 19. And this is already in geometry. Okay, so in geometry, you will be dealing with a lot of figures. Okay, so most basic figures would be the line segments and the number of cubes and also the points. Okay, so number 19. A line segment is formed by joining 2 points. Given the 8 points in the figure below, at most how many different line segment or segments can be formed by joining these points? Okay, so for this one, let's just have one like basis or starting point to make our line segment. Okay, so these points in space would make your line segment. Okay, so let's say this point would want to um join this point here. Okay, sorry. No. So that's 1. Okay. 1, Next is this point here would want to join this point here, and this point would want to join this point here. So that's 2. 1 plus 2. Again, now this point here would want to join this point, and then this point would want to join this point, and then this point would want to join this point. So there are 3 line segments. Okay? So let me erase. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, and I'll erase each time so that you can see it clearly. Okay, we'll have a starting point. So for the first point, this point will have to join here. So that's 1. Next, if this point would want to join here, okay, 1. So of course, this point would also want to join this point. So that's 2 line segments now. Okay, next, this point would want now to join this point, and this point would want to also join this point, and this point would also want to join this point. So there are now 3 different line segments. Next, okay, this point here would now want to join this point, and this point also, and this point here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 different line segments. Okay, next. How about this point here? Okay, and so every point would also want to join this point, this point, this point, and this point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 different line segments. Next, this one. This point would now want to join this point and the other points as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So 6 line segments, different line segments. Okay, wait, let me check it again. Okay, so this point would want to join this point, this point, this point, this point, and this point, and this point. So that's 6. I got confused a little bit. Okay, next, this one, the last point. So this point here would want to join this point now, and the rest also would follow. Okay, again, to form a line segment, it must always be straight. Okay, so you cannot form a line segment like this. So there would be 2 line segments already. So for one line segment needs to be a straight. Excuse me. So assume my lines are straight. Okay. So how many now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7. Okay. So we are down to the last point. So how many different line segments now in total? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. Okay? So to add them easily, you can just do Gaussian again. So 1 plus 7, 8. Then 2 plus 6, 8 again. Then 3 plus 5, that's 8 also. So we are adding how many 8? 1, 2, 3, 8 times 3, that's 24. And then 4 here. So 24 plus 4, that is 28. Okay? So 28 different line segments in total. Okay, next. Number 20. So a prism has 16 vertices. How many edges does this prism have? Okay, so one important thing that you have to remember about prisms is that prisms will have 2 bases. Okay, a basis that is um on the top and at the bottom. Okay, just like what you can see from these examples here. Okay? So the sides of the bases define our prism. Just like in this case, we have a square prism because the base is a square. Okay? So the figure of the base defines the prism. In this case, except for the triangular prism, we would always have a face. Okay, this one is a face that is always or that will always have four sides. Okay, four sides of face. So now, what can we do? We are given 16 vertices. So vertices are where your edges or lines or sides would meet. Okay, so we have two bases and 16 vertices for this prism. So let's try to look at other prisms first so that we can imagine what happens. So for a square prism, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertices. So that is basically just twice of the number of sides of our base. Okay? So if we have a base that have four sides, so the vertices would just be multiplied by 2. So in this case also pentagonal, so five sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the vertices would also be doubled. Okay? So now from here we can get the number of sides of our base to get the edges. Okay? So first we have to divide 16 divided by 2 to get the number of what? The sides of our base. Okay? So 16 divided by 2, we would have 8 sides for our base. Okay? So 8 sides for our base. And then if we could imagine now, for our edges, diba? Here. So each side of the base will have one face. And then the one edge is shared also to the other face. Okay. So in this case, you look at one face and notice that one edge is from the base and another edge is from the base. And one is shared by two faces. Okay? So if we can count it that way, we continue that. This is 3 edges plus 3 edges here plus 3 edges here plus 3 edges here. Then we would get a total of 3, 6, 9, 12 edges for a square prism. So that means we just have to multiply by 3. Okay? So here we have 8 sides for our base. And we multiply that by 3 because that's the number of edges. Let's say for each of the side. Because one edge will be shared by 2. So we cannot have 4 edges. Okay? So we just have to subtract 1 because one side would be shared by 2 faces. So that's why we can multiply by 3. So 8 times 3, that is 24. And so the correct answer here is 24. Okay? So if I can move this one in a dimensional manner, so you could see this would be 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12 edges. So solving that, first, diba? If we have how many vertices for a square prism? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 2, 8. We divide that by 2. We get 4. 8 divided by 2, that is 4. And we multiply 4 by 3. See, following the pattern, we can still get 12. Okay? And if you count it manually, the number of edges will still be 12. Okay? So again, the correct answer here is 24. Next, we'll have 21. Cubes of the same size and shape are stacked together as shown in the figure below. At least how many cube or cubes is or are there? So they are stacked. So let's try to see some of the stacked cubes. Here we can see we have 3 stacked cubes. Also here, 3 stacked cubes. And this is only 2 stacked cubes. And this one, only 2 also. Okay? And the rest are just one, 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 one. So counting the single cubes at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 plus 2 plus 2, that's 4, plus 3 plus 3, that's 6. So we can get how many cubes in total? 5 plus 4, 9 plus 6, that's 15 cubes in total. Okay, check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Again, correct answer is 15. Okay, next. Number 22. According to the pattern shown below, what should be the figure drawn in the blank? So let's try to see the pattern. Square, triangle, circle. Next, it repeats again. Square, triangle, circle. So the pattern is a square, triangle, and circle. Next, square, triangle, circle. So here, we would have square. Next to a square is a triangle. So the correct answer here should be a triangle. Okay? Easy, right? Next, number 23. How many square or squares is or are there in the figure below? Okay, so for this one, we need to know or we need to take in mind that our squares or the smaller squares could combine to form larger squares. But let's count the one by one squares first, okay? Or the unit squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 unit squares. And then let's try to check if we can have 2 by 2 squares. Okay. So this one is a 2 by 2 square. 1. No, 11, 12. This one is 13. And then, oh, we have this one. 14, 13. Sorry. 13. And then this one is 14. Again, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So correct answer is 15. Okay, don't get confused huh? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 by 2 squares in total, plus 11 unit squares. So that's 11 plus 4, 15. Okay, I just got a little bit confused a while ago with the counting. Okay, number 24. This one, how many line segment or segments is or are there in the figure below? Okay, so what can we see from our figures? This one, we have a line segment with 4 points. This one, 3 points. This one, 3 points. And this one, 2. And this one, 2. Okay, so if we have 2 line segments, or sorry, 2 points in a line segment, we can just make 1 line segment. But if we have 3 points in a line segment, we can make how many line segments? 1, 2, and the whole segment here. So 3. So for 3 points, we can have 3 line segments. How about now if we have 4 points in a line segment? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the entire segment. So 6. So if you have 4 points in a segment, you can have at most 6 line segments. Okay, so let's account for them here. This one, 4 line segments. This is 4 points. We can get 6 line segments. This one, 3 points. We can get 3 line segments. 3 points again, we can get 3 line segments. And then 2 points here, 1 line segment. And then 2 points here, 1 line segment. So 3 plus 6 plus 1 plus 1 plus 3. Okay, so that is, I'm going to write it here. 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 3 plus 6. 1 plus 1 is 2. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. Okay? So we can get 14 line segments in total. Okay, that's it. Next, let's go to number 25, which is already in the combinatorics. Almost done, right? So this one, among the values of the following expressions, how many two-digit number or numbers is or are there? Okay, so the only way that you can do this is to actually get the result from these expressions. Okay, so 2 plus 5, that's 7. 6 times 3, 18. 64 divided by 8, that's 8. 9 times 11, 99. 15 minus 6, that is 9. 5 plus 4 is 9. 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay? So, how many two-digit numbers do we have? We have only 2. 1, 2. So, 18 and 99. Okay, very easy. Next. If we are using 4 numbers, 1, 6, 8, and 9 without repetition to form two-digit numbers, what is the minimum possible value of their difference? So we will have two-digit numbers. So let's have two-digit numbers, 1 and 2. And then we're going to subtract them. So this is the two-digit number. Tens, ones, tens, ones. Now, if you want to have the smallest difference as possible, you want to have your tens digit to be very close to each other. So from these digits, 8 and 9 are just consecutive numbers. So they are close to each other, right? So we will put 9 here and 8 on this um, um, second two-digit number. Next, so we are left with 1 and 6. Okay, so the question is, where can we put 1 and 6? Okay, so automatically, the one with the higher digit here is the higher number, right? So if we want to be the higher number to be as close to the second number as possible. So to do that, imagine we lower down the higher number and we increase the second number so that they are very, very close in gap. So, to lower the higher number, we will put a lower digit on the ones place. So, this should be 91. And then to make the second number go higher in value, we put here 6. So if you get the difference now between 91 and 86, you get 6. 11 minus 6, that is 5. Okay? So, what happens if we interchange them? So, that's 96 minus 81. The difference would be higher. 6 minus 1, 5. 9 minus 8, 1. So, 15. So, now, or therefore, the minimum possible value of the difference is actually 5. Okay? Next, number 27. Katie has 10 $2 coins. At most, how many $5 coins can she exchange these coins for? So we just have to multiply 10 times the $2 to know the amount. So 10 times 2, that's 20. And of course, since we want to exchange $5 coins from this value, which is $20, we divide by 5. So 20 divided by 5. Okay, so 4 times 5, that's 20. And so this will become 4. 4 times 5, 20. So the correct answer here is we can exchange of four $5 coins. Okay? Again, correct answer is 4. Next, number 28. Evan has 5 $1 coins, 4 $2 coins, and 3 $5 coins. If one cup costs $6, at most, how many cups can he buy using these coins? So, to know how much you can buy for a cup at $6, we need to count how much money does Evan has. So, we do multiply these numbers. So 5 times $1, that's 5. 4 times $2, that's 8. 3 times $15, that's 3 times 5, sorry, that's 15. And we get the total. 5 plus 8 plus 15, that's 20 plus 8, $28 in total. Okay? So now these $28, we need to know how much $6 cups can Evan buy. Okay? So we have to divide 28 by 6. Okay? And I guess the multiple of 6 closest to 28 is 24. So this is 24, and 24 is just 6 times 4. So we write 4 here. 4 times 6, that's 24 again. So 28 minus 24, it's 4. So we have a remainder of $4. But since a cup costs $6, we can no longer buy another cup. So we will not consider the remainder. We only look at this one. So the correct answer here is 4. So he can buy 4 cups with $28. Okay, next. Number 29. If we choose 4 different numbers from 1, 3, 5, 8, and 9 to form 4-digit even numbers, what is the largest among these numbers? Okay, so we will have a 4-digit even number. So this is the thousands place, hundreds place, tens place, and then the ones place. So we are only given these set of numbers here. 1, 3, 5, and 8, and 9. We are asked to form an even number. So the only even number we can have is 8. So we have to make sure that 8 is to be put at the ones digit or the ones place. Okay, to make the number even, you need to also put an even number on the ones digit. So 8 can only be put here. Okay, so now let's go back to the question. Largest number. So of course, to get the largest number, we need to prioritize putting the largest digit, which is 9, on the highest place value, which is the thousands place. So we put 9 here. and follow follow the decreasing order of the numbers. So next larger value is or number is 5, and then next to that is 3. So the number that we can have is 9,538. Okay, very easy, right? And we are down to the last number, number 30. A group of 6 students are taking photos. Each student takes photo with every other students, and there are only 2 students in each photo. At least how many photos is or are there to be taken? Okay, so we have 6 students. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So on each photo, only 2 students can be seen, and every other student must have a photo of every other students as well. So let's have this student here as our basis. Okay? So if this students want to take a picture with this student, that's 1 photo. Now, if this student wants to take a picture of this student here and also this student here, so that's 2 photos. Next, if this students want to take a photo of this student and this student as well, and also this student, so that's 3 photos. Next, if this student wants to take a photo of this student as well, did you get the pattern? And also this student, and lastly this student. So that's 4 photos. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then again, repeating that down to our last student. We have here 1 photo, another 1 photo, next 1 photo, and then 1 photo and 1 photo with the student. So a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos. Okay, so we can have 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So this is just easy. 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10, 10 plus 5, 15. So we could have a total of 15 photos taken, such that each student will have to take a photo for every other student. Okay? So correct answer is 15. And that's it for our um mock exam review. Okay? So good luck, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.